I want to take a little bit to talk to you about an issue that comes up every once in a while. I've gotten countless questions about this in the past 4 years, and the question is about sealing stones to help preserve them. I've brought this up a few times in the past. I've shown some examples of things that have been done in local cemeteries around here. One of them is polyurethane. A lot of people like to use things like polyurethane, varnish, lacquer, things like that on headstones, even wet look sealer. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what that does to a stone. So all natural stone is porous. Porous meaning that water can move through it, can get into it. It's not like a sponge. It doesn't really soak it up, we'll say, but it will wick some water up from the ground, and it of course absorbs or allows water into it from like rain and snow and things like that. So I got a little visual example here. If you think of this box as a flush mounted headstone where everything that's blue or green, whatever that looks like to you, I'm colorblind, so I can't really tell, is ground contact. So you've got ground contact on all four sides and the bottom. I didn't color it though. So there's ground in contact all the way up to usually the top ½ inch, or sometimes they're even below the ground, in a lot of cases anyways. So you get a nice rain in the summer, and it rains for, let's say, 2 days. So now all of this ground is saturated with water. This stone needs to be able to breathe and allow water into it, out of it. It needs to be able to get rid of the water that gets into it, right? So normally the sun would come out and shine on this stone. You'd have some wind and stuff, and a lot of that water, because the stone heats up, will evaporate out the top. Now, if you've sealed the top, you've essentially put a vapor barrier over the top of the stone. So now when the stone gets hot, the water, the vapor in the stone tries to move up, and it hits that vapor barrier, and then it just sits there. It can't get out because it's got that barrier, or that polyurethane, varnish, whatever is on there, keeping the water from being able to get out into the air. So now you've essentially made it the only way this stone can get rid of water is if the ground around it dries up enough and the stone is wetter than the ground will take some of the water out. This is very, very bad for stones, especially marble. It's bad for everything though. And some of you guys are going to say, well, some stones are polished. They're not porous, but they are. Just because they're polished and they're really smooth doesn't mean that they don't have pores, little holes that go into them. So they will hold water. And for this reason, they say that when you calculate the weight of a stone, you need to account whether or not it has rained recently, because the weight of a stone will go up if you've had recent rain. So, in short, don't seal stones. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, paver bricks get sealed all the time. And that's true. Paver bricks are installed in a very specific fashion to allow water to go out the bottom. Not only that, but paver bricks are not historic stone. A lot of these places that have these nice walkways and stuff with engraved bricks, that's just a brick with somebody's name in it. It doesn't have any historical significance. If that brick is to deteriorate, they'll just pull that out and put another brick in there with the same stuff engraved on it. It doesn't have symbolism. It doesn't have meaning to descendants. It didn't have meaning to people that lived 140 years ago. So that's why it's important to leave this stuff out of the cemetery, because it will cause harm to your headstones, and it will end up causing a lot of problems in the future. Most cases, the polyurethane will yellow and it will start to flake off, and it can be removed rather easily, but you'll never get all of it because of the pores in those stones. So leave your lacquer, leave your varnish, leave your polyurethane, leave your wet look sealer at home when you go to the cemetery. Just clean the stone, treat it with D2 biological solution. That will keep the biological growth off of it, keep it looking nice for a long time, and it won't cause any unneeded harm to the stone.